Aha, aha. All right, thank you for joining in, and it's my pleasure to have you share your experience with us. How's the family?
Thank you, sir. Awesome. They're very well. They're very well. There's a lot of noise in the house, the children. So I had to come into the car, and I think it's usually more sane, spending the time I get my own office to start doing, doing. So I have to come to the car. I usually like to do my yes.
When you get your own office, you now put your books behind you.
Put my yes behind me. Yes, I'm working on that. In another 1 month, that should be ready, sir.
If you don't have the office yet, start buying the books.
Yeah, no, I have the books. I have books. I have books already. I have books. Yes, I have books. So the books are ready. Just the shelf to put it in the office. How's your family? How's your family? I see you August. I should like Mama Jew. I should fondly call my house.
Fantastic. She's doing great. She's doing great.
All
right. I'm sure a couple of times I've seen you, joined in to, see what we've been doing. And this should be about the 24th edition, of this chat. We started during the lockdown, and it's been amazing. And people have been following and, gleaning from others' experience. Because when you know what others know, it will reduce the time it will take you to get to your destination.
Yes, sir.
So what we are doing is to just leverage other people's experiences, and especially the creatives now. That's our target. The creatives. There must be something they are doing differently. So at times we don't need to know all the backstories, the school they attended, how old they are. It doesn't matter. What matters, what we're looking at, those are the things you did that got you here. And we always sell stories that touch, stories that are inspiring, stories that there are some people who are going through exactly what you have gone through. But there must be something or certain things you did when you were at that spot that gave you the push to where you are now. I was discussing with my wife, and she said at some point, and you confirmed that you were a waiter.
Yes, I was, sir.
So
yes, I was.
What happened and what changed? Let's take it from there.
Okay, so let me start with that. So I worked as a waiter for close to 5 years. I would say to you that I worked as a waiter until 2011, and it's still amazing. 2011. The last time I worked as a waiter, I worked as a celebrity waiter in 2012 at the convention, at the Redeem convention. I call myself a celebrity waiter because something changed about me. So I started working as a waiter since 2002 or 2003, July 4th, 2003. I started working as a waiter. So I worked as a waiter for over 5 years. So when I say I worked as a waiter 5 years, it cut across more than 5 years. I finished school in 2001, and then I taught literature in a lesson, JAM class and YA class. And after a while, the comedy thing had been inside of me back in school, so I needed a platform. But I didn't get the platform. Yeah, church was one of the major platforms that I had as a member of the choir, and I was also the anchor, usually because I was outspoken. They would tell me, Saco, my first name is Sunday. For people connecting for me for the first time, my Saco is a name that I got as a teenager a few years ago, which I feel I still say today that I was inspired by the Holy Spirit, because I've never seen anybody do acronyms. Yes, we had acronyms in school, but maybe because of what I learned in school made it very easy. So I sat down one day and I said, what name do I want people to call me as a comedian? Because I started getting attention, Night of a Thousand Lab. I was watching all the videos. And then I sat down one day in my room and I wrote down all my names. And my first name is Sunday. People that grew up with me in K to know that my first name is Sunday. And my other name is Ayodele. The C is Chukamado. And the O is Okundalaye. And that was how my mother is from Delta State. My dad is from Ondo State. And that was how I wrote down my name, Saco. And I tell you, I started writing my name all over, Saco, Saco, Saco. So there was no space for expression except church. And so and then except church and Action Health where I belonged. I used to be a member of an Action Health and Life Planning Club where we talked about self-esteem, where we talked about abstinence from sex as a teenager. And also, can you tell us if you're a pastor? Every curious says I'm a pastor. I'm not a pastor. Pastor Bolaji is a pastor. So I began to express myself at the Action Health. The waiter thing came up just like, you know how someone says, okay, I need one boy, I need somebody to come and work. I'm lagging. You know how you are, maybe somebody messed up, and then this woman was my music director back in Redeem. You know, her name is Mommy Shekoni. You know, she said they needed somebody and they were going to pay the person 500 naira to go and work as a waiter. And as I went, and I said to you, one of the reasons that made me go to work as a waiter was a lady that, you know, that we're friends, we're in church, you know, we liked each other, and she used to give me gifts a lot. You know, and I thought I didn't have a way of stealing. There were a lot of my guys doing Yahoo, and I said, I don't want to steal. I don't want to steal do any Yahoo around. I wanted to work for the money, you know, and buy a gift, you know, and then that was what prompted me into working as a waiter the first day. So I worked as a waiter the first day, and one of the things that I got from there is service for me. You know, as I consistently worked as a waiter, it gave me access to a lot of places. Service gave me access to a lot of places. As soon as I wear that uniform, it gave me access. And I began to see myself when I'm washing plate, because I was a new guy. So because I wasn't used to carrying plate and all those things, so they would put me where they used to wash plates. So I would wash plate. But gradually, as I began to continue working, they started allowing me inside the hall where I go to give people food, I ask questions. And I began to watch MCs. And before you know, I began to see MCs at weddings. I saw Basket Mount, I saw the likes of Gordons, I saw people that I used to watch on TV, anchor events. And I said to myself, you know how you have something you do at home and then you see somebody doing it in a larger scale. You know, and I began to say, oh, you know, Dr. Ellen Paul is in the building. Dr. Ellen Paul, thank you for joining. We appreciate you all the way from Atlanta. Thank you for joining. You know, so I began to work, and then gradually I began to beg my coordinator, Tokwe, to allow me to work inside. Because when they are sharing the duty timetable, you go, yes, I'll beg him, please, can you allow me work inside? Because he gave me access to MCs when they're anchoring events. And so the Saturdays when I'm not working, I will dress and then go and get crash events. I will just sit down and watch the MCs. From that place, I've seen Omojesu. From that place, I've seen Wamlele. From going, get crashing events. It's not now that you have bouncers at the event. You know, then you just go to the church, find out where they are doing the program, collect the program, and then the reception follows. So you just go and sit down. Sometimes I will go and meet the MC. So I remember going to meet Omojesu as someone that get crashed a wedding. So my name is Saco. I'm a comedian. Can I perform at this show? At this wedding? And he gave me the platform. And then that was how I perform. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not funny. You know how, as comedians, they call it koboko. You know, I didn't care. I just wanted to express myself. But that waiter thing, it took me to another level. It took me to a level where I worked in a corporate environment as a waiter. I worked at Express Discount House. I worked at Intercontinental Discount House on the island. And they were paying me 4,000 naira per month, Monday to Friday. You know, so this month I'm in Express Discount House. The next month I'm in Intercontinental Discount House. I did that for a year, and I was able to save money for my school. I first got admission to Ibadan Poly, or they told me my name was going to come out in Ibadan Poly. So I left the waiter job and went to school in 2004. 2004, I was in Ibadan Poly for open. You know how you be open that your name, they say name will come out in second batch. So I was already receiving lectures in accounting department, doing, you know, I did the first semester exam. You know, my name was still not, they said, don't worry, second semester, your name will come out. Until second semester, I couldn't write the exam. You know, from there, I had to write, I went to write diploma exam in University of Ilorin. And that was how I went to Ilorin. From Ilorin, during convention, I will leave Ilorin and come and work as a waiter. Because I wasn't getting enough money, you know, from the house. So convention for me now became something that every year, and guess what, they pay me 3,500 per week from Monday to Friday. I would arrive Sunday and I will leave Sunday. But one of the things that I said to date that changed my life was service gave me a lot of opportunities. I met Pastor J.T. Kalajaye. I met a lot of pastors while working at the camp. Most of them became my clients. became my client because they saw me evolve from being a master of ceremonies to a stand-up comedian that I began to anchor events outside Nigeria. You know, so I became a celebrity waiter when I went to London in 2012 in July. I'd not worked as a waiter for a long time, for like 2, 3 years. And then, God does, how God does ask me a question. I said, can you work for me at the camp again? I said, why not? And then I went to meet my coordinator and I said, ma, I want to work at the camp. I said, no, we have enough people. We have enough people. We don't. I said, no, ma, I'm not coming to work as a waiter and I'm not coming to work for money. I just came back from London. You know, as I mentioned that statement, I just came back from London in July and I just want to, the woman just said, come work, you can come and work with us, you can come and work with us. You know, so the story changed. You know, the story changed because London, I'm working with you as a waiter and I'm coming to, I've gone to London, and the story changed. And then I became a reference point when people, the woman that if I do a little thing, she would yab me. This time she began to call people. You don't know Sunday. I'll share the lot in London. I said the lot in London more mini. The status changed. But I would say that I learned service, I learned process. It wasn't easy. All these things I just share with you wasn't easy. I washed different plates. You know how it is. When you finish washing plate and you think that you are done, they just bring another plate, another set of visitors come. But I thank God for the process. And I'm grateful to God that I went through that process. Because people see my life today and say, if this guy could go through working as a waiter. And one of the things that I do when I go to events, how your wife find out, is when I have conversations when they see me dress in corporate, they see me dress corporate, I say, Egbon, and I sit them down and I say, do you know I've done this before? I worked as a waiter for so years. And they don't believe. And then when I begin to use all their terms, all the codes they normally use, I say, true, this guy went through. So it's not just telling us, Babu, this guy went through the process and they can see that they've seen result in my life. And that's, the result has been amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. Now, let me take it from your last word, process. And that is very key. And the major problem we're having in the industry now is that people don't want to observe the process. They don't want to go through the steps. They just want to fly and just get to the top. Now, talking about process, now, let's talk about how your career started. But I remember my first encounter with you was at the MBA school, the Unilag MBA event, where my wife was there, and Aziz,
my contact person,
and I remember the joke you did. Is still to let you know, because as an artist, my memory is retentive. Was a man whose car was stolen, and he came out and said, I parked the car here, and and I went like this. Now, how? Because as we speak now, some of them are listening. We have people who have this kind of stories currently, and they just want to navigate and get past this level and move on. So, for you, how did you get into the comedy industry? What are the networks that change the game in your favor?
Okay, so one of the things. Thank you for that observation. And I remember that joke very well because my car was also stolen. My car was stolen in February, and I also brought up one of the things I've learned is that for everything that happened to me, I bring out the story from it. When I'm speaking from the fact that I have a story to tell. I can tell you I've been through this. It's not a palatable news, to talk about how your car was stolen. And my car was stolen on February 12th, February 7th, 2012. So I share my story about my experience, about my family. One of the things that I will say to you that got me into comedy is relationship. Everyone is important to you. The security guy, the gatesman, the driver, everyone. I'm a product of relationship. I'm a product of some networks. I will share the fact of mentorship. Mentorship also skyrocketed me to the next level where, like I said, I believe I have speaking on talent is not enough. I believe that the fact that you have talent is not enough. Networking is important. So that's why you can't pass someone. People say I greet too much. See, I know what I've enjoyed from greeting people, from just saying good afternoon to people. from saying good afternoon, sir, being cautious to people. And I don't do it because I want to get anything. But the truth is, when God sees your heart, that you are greeting this person because you respect the person, not because of what you want to get from the person. I do this every time I get guys of my security guys. If I don't tell my children to call them gate men, I say, call them security persons. When they open the gate for me and I say thank you, and they are surprised. They are saying, why is this guy saying thank you? I'm paying their salary, but the fact that they are doing the job, I know that is a face for them. If they have an opportunity, they won't work as a security guard or as a gate man. So I need to treat them well. So when they get there, because it's one thing to talk, it's one thing to have the lifestyle. I met Aziz in church. I met him in church in DLA, this Leadership Academy. If I didn't treat Aziz very well, or I wasn't respectful enough, Aziz will not recommend me to the MBA. Will not. That's it. A few days ago, our grand mentor Alibaba was talking about how he was having a walk, and then he greeted an elderly woman, and the two children that was with him did not greet him. And then while he was walking back, the same woman wanted him to favor, to help. All they needed to do was good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. And later the woman, less than two hours or 1 hour, the mother of the children, they were asking for help. She was asking for help for her two kids. One is a musician, one is a model. And you just say, how is that possible? Courtesy. My first big gig, opportunity to meet Reverend Sam Adeyemi, was from a driver, Brad Lukman, in my area, that I usually greet in K2, Ekaso, Brad Luke, his name is Brad Lukman, but also people know him as Wale, Uncle Wale, but we know him as Brad Lukman. He was a Muslim, before he converted to being a Christian. I greeted him, and then one day he just reached out to me in 2008, and he said his boss was having his 40th birthday, and he wants me to anchor, and he's begging me, Saco, please collect 5,000 from me. And I said, no problem. And from there, I did the event in Alakpere. From there, a Daystar member saw me and recommended me. This was me, and recommended me for an event that I did with Reverend Sam in October 12, 2008. That same year, I met my mentor, Oli Malam, in May 29, 2008. I'd seen Oli Malam in 2004, and I saw him living my dream, living the life that I wanted to live. I'm a Christian. I didn't want to crack raw joke. I knew my values. I chose the values that the values, what I still stood for. I didn't want to, crack raw joke like other people. So mentorship helped me a lot. Apart from the network, mentorship helped me. Mentorship made the work faster. He allowed me to go through the process, but he made the process faster. I believe there's no overnight success. I shared this story, and I said, when God created Adam and Eve, he created them as a man. And then when he realized that he created them as man, they messed up. And then the next time he was going to create another Adam, he allowed the second Adam to go through the process. He allowed Jesus to go through the process. Are you saying that Jesus, he couldn't tell Jesus to fly from heaven and just land and say Jesus has arrived? He allowed Jesus to go through the same process, to go through, pregnancy. You don't know how big Jesus is. Did you think that Jesus had to go through pregnancy? But he wanted to make a point to let you know that you need to go through process. So if God could go through process, you need to go through process. You need to go through process. So that network, Oli Malam, the first man I ever worked with as a comedian, was in 2000. So October 1st, 2005 was when I started comedy professionally. So October 1st this year, I'm going to be 15 years on stage. When I got to University of Ilorin, he gave me the name, the Senior Advocate of Comedy. And so I worked with him for over a year. I didn't even understand it was mentorship. I didn't even know it was mentorship. He was teaching me. I just saw him as my boss. I was standing in for him. I would go to radio when he's having a show. I would go. All those things built me. And then finally, I worked with him till he relocated to the UK from 2005 to 2007. And then, God had my interest on art. 2004, I saw Oli Malam from afar, and I sent him a mail that I wanted to work with him. He didn't respond. And between that 2005 to 2007, when I was already thinking who would mentor me, because my mentor was already relocating to the UK. 2008, that same May 29th, Oli Malam connected with me, or I saw him at an event in Unilag, and he adopted me straight. And that was how the story changed. 2008, he gave me my first major 30K job. I did my first 30,000 naira job in 2008, July 6th. In fact, that was the first major event I would do at 30,000 naira. And a church was going to pay me, recommended me to the church to do comedy. That 30,000 now, when they paid the money, I was a student there in University of Ilorin. I remember our Taiwo Road in Ilorin. I went to a bank, UBA bank, and I checked my account balance and I saw 30,000 there. I was scared that 30,000 to do comedy. I withdrew 1,000. I first withdrew 1,000 to be sure that it was mine. That in case those people say they did mistakes, I can do refund. At least it's 1,000 I spent. And I did the event July 6th. After that time, he recommended me for another event, 120,000. From 30,000 to 120,000.
Wow.
I'm telling you. One of the things that he did for me, he gave me great confidence. He would tell me, I could go anywhere for 5,000. I did 5,000 for a long time, from 2005 to 2008. I could go anywhere. Just tell me 5,000. I can go to Ilorin. I can go to Kaba. I can go anywhere. And then from 5,000, he took it to the next level, and I did 30,000 and I did 120, and I went to Abuja for the first time in 2008. And that's how the story began to change. And I will say network for me, those network about, don't look for the big guy. There's some people in your life that is very, very important. The gate man will tell you what time you want to meet that person. A lot of people, you bring down, you feel that everybody is not important. Everybody is important to you. The gate man, the guy that doesn't have a job right now, the old man that you see that is useless, you'll be shocked. If you spend some time with him, the level of knowledge you will get from him, because he does not want you to do the same mistake that you did. You get. So for me, those were the facts. Those were things that I learned. And there were 4 major things I during my research, because I just wrote a book on crumbs to riches, on the effect of. You want me to continue, or should I just wait?
No. Let's. This is your book. I'm interested in it. You're about to give us. What we are doing here. This is a class. You are the lecturer. Yes, we are the student. So please go ahead and give us those 4 points.
Okay. So one of the 4 things that a lot of guys are not ready, because, like I said, overnight success, that they're not ready to collect or learn, because they believe that what do they need? Some people even ask you, do I even need a mentor? I don't need a mentor. You need a mentor. Whether you like it or not, somebody has mentored you one way or the other. One way or the other, you have had a mentor. You've had role models in your life. So one way or the other, and one of the things that one of my mentors says, Mr. Nia Adesoya, says, no one gets to the top by themselves. Somebody brought you there. Someone brought you there. The fact that you finished primary school, somebody recommended that you should pass, primary school. The fact that you finished university, somebody allowed your project to go through. If the person was not impressed, or the person might not have been impressed, just, what, this guy has tried, let him go. Let him go, and you wait. So I got to myself. So you can't even back and say, I got to this place by myself. Somebody connected you. Somebody recommended you. My first trip to the UK was somebody. Guess what? My first trip to the UK in 2012 was a man that sometimes I give this man money. Sometimes I give this man money. And then he had a friend. He just had a friend and said, Saco, there's an opportunity to go to the UK. They are premiering a movie in the UK on Abayo by Yomi Fabi, and he just connected me to Yomi Fabi. And then Yomi Fabi made an arrangement for me. They wrote a letter to say that they wanted me to come as a guest. And that was how I got my trip to the UK. Because, and one thing that I learned, one thing that made it possible was that when my mentor started, Oli Malam, when I started working with Oli Malam, I think he had some challenges getting the UK visa. So all the challenges that he had, he didn't want me to have the same challenge. So he told me, start working on your account statement. Have an account that you put money that you don't touch. Your tax, make sure you work on your tax. Have travel experience. So I went to Ghana for the first time. My first gig out of Nigeria was Ghana, all expense paid. The second one I did was Dubai. I had to book a flight by myself to go to Dubai. Sometimes you might need to make attempts. Don't wait for people. Talent is not enough. There are 3 important things about your talent: the part of discovery, the part of development, and the part of distribution.
Yeah, please say that again. Discovery.
There are three important parts about your talent. The part of discovering your talent, knowing that this is what you are passionate about. When they wake you up, this is, if they wake Pastor Bolaji up, come and draw something. You can draw. You're not thinking about, I've not slept in this. You can sketch up something. The other one is the part of development. I tell you today, I started as a comedian, but I've evolved beyond the beyond just being a comedian. You know, when we look at role models and mentors like Alibaba is not limited to a comedian. Alibaba has a lot of wealth of experience. You know, and I say to myself, the part of discovery is important. When you discover, oh, I'm a comedian. The part of development where you have to go to school. If you need to go learn, like I had to go to school. I had to go to Wale Adenuga's production, Pepsi, to learn presentation skills. Yes, I was there for 6 months to learn presentation skills, audience analysis. I went to EDC. I paid 1 point something million to Enterprise Development Center to learn to have a certification in entrepreneurial management. Because I felt for me, I felt I'm beyond just being a comedian. Yes, that's one thing that people know you for, but you need to begin to expand. They know you as a comedian, but by the time they have conversation with you, they realize that you're not just limited to just being a comedian. So I don't address myself as a comedian, except maybe that's what for people to, I'm a comedian. But if you meet me, entertainment entrepreneur, because I'm going beyond just being a comedian. And the part of distribution, the part where you need to distribute, so you discover your talent, you develop. So the part for you to become, and for you, the part of development, for you to be a professional in anything you have done, you should have done it over 10,000 hours. When we hear the word, Malcolm Gladwell talked about the 10,000 hours rule, where you'd have done it over and over. You'd have done it over and over. And that's why I say to people in the church, when you're in the choir and you think you're wasting your time, you're wasting your time. Every time you sing, you are building on your platform. You are building on yourself. You are building on yourself. You have more advantage. You sing better than the secular guys. But one thing that matters, what makes you different from the guys in secular is because they distribute. Their distribution is powerful. Their distribution is they spend millions distributing. But we believe that we are Christians. God is going to distribute the things for us. Yes, He's going to distribute, but what do you have? You don't have a video. You can't compare the video, and that's why you see the likes of Snatch, you see the likes of all the people doing well in the Christendom. They are intentional about their distribution. The Frank Edwards of this world, they are intentional. The Bukola Bekis, they are intentional about, the other day they were doing review of people that have 100 million videos on their YouTube. Sinach was part of them. The video was part of them. 4/7, 100 million video, one video, having 100 million videos. They were intentional. The part of distribution, the part of development. They paid different people to put their stuff. So you are everywhere. I say to people, sometimes you sing songs that you don't have the lyrics on your phone. Where did they come from? If I tell you, say, I love you, I don't have the lyrics. But I listen to it everywhere. One way or the other, it forms. They are everywhere. There's some songs that did not make sense to you at the beginning, but the fact that it was consistently played, the fact that it was consistently played, it entered you entered your mind. And when it gets to your mind, it gets to your hand, it gets to your mouth, and you are shocked. I don't have this lyric. Because my mama no be dangote. It's everywhere. You don't have a song. I don't have a song on my phone.
There's this one funny song. I don't really know, but you just hear
yes.
one small. So one day I say, who is singing? They say it's Small Doctor.
Small Doctor. Yes. They are powerful. They know the power of distribution. A lot of times during this COVID-19 period, a lot of times they were in all our faces. So you need to, as a Christian, and you can't say because you're a Christian, you're waiting. This is not a party to say you're a Christian and you are lucid. You're just keeping to yourself. You need to be in the face. You need to be in the face of your client. You need to be in it, because when they're thinking of who are they going to call, I'm still going to share the 4 things that I learned, because this period, for me, this COVID-19 period opened my eyes to a lot of opportunities. I had opportunity to read, I had opportunity to listen to a lot of podcasts. I said to myself, this period, it's a time for me to relax and get a lot of information. Get a lot of information. That's why, God helping me, I released my book, From Crumbs to Riches, but that I talked about mentorship, the things, how my mentor, how from crumbs to riches, how I was very poor. My parents were very poor. My mom, at the time, we had to struggle to feed in a place. You know how you'll be managing soup with your siblings? We managed to, till date, my wife still complains that I don't pack soup. no matter how much soup you give me, I don't finish it. I'm telling you, this is not
I have
because I've
the
done it.
same problem. You know, we have similar stories. So I still have that same problem. They say I waste soup. I said these people will not understand how we buy a bakolobe to manage small soup.
Sir, you are my senior colleague, sir. Today, 2 days ago, my wife gave me a goosey soup with fish. She gave me three pieces of fish and one pomo or something. I ate 2 fish, and I said to myself, I can't finish this fish. I cannot. And I said to myself, you know, guess what? I went to put it in the freezer. I said, this fish can do something for somebody. We can even remove it and put it. There's no thing. You don't owe anybody anything. I know I have been consistent to managing soup. That I will buy 100 naira goosey soup with 1 meat. I and my siblings, we're 4, my mother, and they will not be managing soup. You pack too much soup, your mother will say, you will not be managing. You will not be managing soup. You know, but the story has changed now. The story has changed. By the grace of God, I have more than, you know, but I am still used to that consistently managing and thinking about tomorrow. So I've talked about the 3 Ds that are very, very important. I did a podcast about that.
There were 4 things you were going to share with us from your...
Yes, there are 4 things I'm going to share about mentorship. I learned that during this period also. A lot of times, people say they want people to mentor them. People actually do not. Some people come and say they want mentorship. They don't need mentorship most times. They need a sponsor. A lot of times come around people and say they want mentorship. They don't need mentor. They need sponsor. They want you to sponsor them. You know, so that they come and they just want to see you live a good life, and they feel that if they come around you, they can ask you can take
leverage.
But they don't understand they can leverage. There's the power of leverage. And if you leverage very well, you will not need a sponsor, because you would have gotten right now in my life, I don't need a sponsor, except maybe I want to do a show and I need external money. But for my daily needs and for the things I've learned from mentorship, I don't need a sponsor. With a sense of humility. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So if you can understand the power of mentorship, the essence of mentorship in your life is that the things that it took them 10 years to achieve, if you are consistent with them, 2 years, 3 years, you will go through the process, but you will not go through that 10 years, because they've shrunk their experience to share with you if you are ready to listen. You know, So somebody, you know, one of my friends said I was never poor. You might not understand. My father had a house. But it's one thing to have a house and you don't have food in the house.
Yeah, and you'll be hungry in the kitchen.
And you'll be hungry. I went from moving from a private school to a public school. We didn't have capacity. You know, one of my friends just reached out to me and I said, I was never poor. I've not seen the rest of it. She just sent me a message on WhatsApp. But you know, one thing that you need to learn in mentorship for you to fulfill destiny and fulfill all that God has put in you, 4 important things. The power of observation. There's the power of observation is important. A lot of times people come around and they say they want you to mentor, and they don't even know some things about the mentor. They don't even know the person's full name. They don't know what the likes of the person. Yes, I know you cannot know everything about the person, but have you read the person's book? Have you done a little research? People cannot meet me. I do illustrations. 2 things. 2 persons. One person comes to me and says, mentor me. The other one comes and says, sir, I've read your book. Or he refers, even if the person doesn't have a book, and he says, sir, on the 5th of May, you made a broadcast. You did a broadcast on Instagram, and you talk about things. You talk about 3 important days. You talk about this. And sir, I will tell you those things that I have watched has made me. Who do you think the mentor is going to attend to? The guy. He would attend to the guy that came out to refer to him what he read. So it's not the general, sir, your life has been a blessing to me. What exactly has it been? You know, don't do the general observation. So you do the sir, be specific. So the power of observation says, sir, from your book, one of the books that you wrote in 2005, you said in chapter, and you go ahead to say in chapter 4, sir. And you even went ahead to say in paragraph 2. Even when you even know the paragraph. And so you said this, and you said this. The power of observation. You've read the person's book, and now the other part where you need to where you have observed him. You've observed that this man likes to dress nice. So you cannot even be going to the person and start dressing anyhow. You can't be going with t-shirt. If the person loves to dress corporate, and you see how he smiles when he sees you in corporate, you need to dress in corporate. That's the power of observation. There's some questions you should not ask your mentor. There's some trivial questions you should not ask your mentor if you observe them properly.
Yeah.
And so the power of observation and then the power of explanation. So when you have observed, you've observed from the person. You've observed from the person. And then you say, and then you now begin to refer them to the things you've observed. Trust me, the person, like your children will ask you questions. Daddy, I observed that when you were driving, you wrote down, or when you got to the toll gate, you paid. They observed. They observed that you paid. You will explain to them, yes, we need to pay because so paid, and then you explain, you give them more explanations. And that's it. How you lecture, you lecture, and people ask questions. So you said this. When you were saying this, you said this. It means that the person was listening.
Yeah.
So sometimes when the person says off point, you ask the audience, the student, did I say this? You say you were not listening. So the power of observation, the power of explanation, and then there's a part where the power of experience, where you as a protege, you have to experience your own experience. You have to experience you have to have your own experience. You have to have your own unique experience. So even if my story with yours was the same, similar, it was similar, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
We had 4 siblings. I had from polygamous family. I don't know how many you are, but you understand where I was going to, but it's always different. You know the process, but the experience where you need to enjoy your own experience. I don't know why. Maybe that's why that's why what's the name, Pastor Bolade Faras's church? What's the name of church?
House on the Rock. Yeah.
House on the Rock. Maybe that's why they turned it the experience, because everybody has to have their experience. The experience. You have to have your own experience. Everybody's experience is different. You can have it could be the same. You can all be in the same, but your experience will be different. Yeah. So that part of experience is important in mentorship. And then the last one is the revelation, the power of revelation, where God begins to reveal yourself, your own self. So even when everybody is doing this, I knew what I wanted. I knew the kind of things I wanted. I knew the kind of places I wanted to go. So I knew by revelation that I couldn't crack joke in a club. I couldn't do some kind of jokes, because I also understood as I grew older that the job of an MC or the job as a comedian is to make people laugh, not make them feel bad. So when I take the mic, I'm not supposed to make somebody feel bad. I'm supposed to make the person, because it's value that I'm rendering. You might not be tangible, it's intangible. I have gotten $200 before because I did not yab somebody. It was in a church. I went to do comedy in Mamifunka Adejumo's church in Lagos, and and I was cracking joke, and this guy was eating at me. He was eating at me. He was saying I look like Balotelli. Is it Balotelli that doesn't look nice? Or, and I had the mic with me. I did not say a word. I just concentrated. That's how people miss you. You feel that you can also open your mouth and talk. I just concentrated. I just focused. And everybody has different strengths. Some people will face the person. People will laugh.
Some people, it's a source of energy for them. We say, your father, the worry style of, but it's not your practice.
It's not my practice. So I focused and I did my part. And then after service, he came to meet me. I said, I was throwing a jab at you and you did not respond. I said, I don't do those kind of jokes, sir. I don't insult people. Because all I needed to do was say one word, and it will enter. I had the mic, and it would have made him silent. And he just said, hold on. And he went to the car and gave me an envelope. In my mind, he gave me a white envelope. I didn't even open it. I got into the car and I opened it, and it was $200.
Wow.
And I said to myself, I will not And it changed, even though that was what I do, but he gave me a broader picture to realize that you don't insult people, don't talk on anybody. You can see somebody on short today and you'll be shocked. I have enjoyed a lot of blessings today for people that I never imagined. One of my best experiences in Manchester, in the United Kingdom, was from somebody that I used to do charity for. He didn't even have the capacity to pay me back then in Lagos, and then he moved to Manchester. And that was how, in 2015, I went with my family to Manchester, and he heard that I was in Manchester. And, you know, he heard that I was in the UK, and he made arrangements for me to come to Manchester. And for the first time, you go to the UK, they usually presume or assume that a lot of people in the UK are stingy. For the first time, this man changed my rotation. He said, Saco, you're not going to spend £1 in Manchester. Wow. Because for me, I had my money. I wanted to pay. He said, Saco, you're not going to spend £1.
Wow.
And 2015, March, like I said, everything, the food, I went to eat Nigerian food. Took me everywhere. I had a recording. It took pictures. It took over 100 pictures. His name is Major Adewumi Studios. That's his Instagram handle. And he took care of me. May, I came back to Manchester through him, courtesy of, you know, of this man. And I was in one of the best apartments in Manchester. From somebody that did not have money to pay me back in Nigeria, and now is doing very well. Every time I want anything in Manchester, it connects with me. So for me, it is very important that I am who I am today because of relationship in my life. And I don't take them for granted.
Wow. Amazing. I'm sure those listening would glean so much from here. Some think is luck. When you said you can greet, I think you can greet. You can greet. And it's a virtue, and it is a way of getting into people's consciousness and getting them to remember you. That warmth, it doesn't take anything away from you. At all. Yeah. It endears you to people that when anything comes up, the first thing is to remember you. Our time is running. Now, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, then you just wrap it up. You have stayed on this lane in this comedy space. You know, the comedy space is very big, and is one of the the biggest now. But somehow you are a gospel comedian. Have you ever had an offer to veer off course? If yes, how did you contain that temptation to say, "Oh, this big show, but it's not gospel"? You know, you know what I mean? Yes, but the money is big. But you have said no. This is your lane. This is your space. You want to keep it here, and you have been doing fantastic. Yeah.
Well, sincerely, I'll be frank with you. I've never the issue of gospel comedian, because as I grew older, like working with Oli Malam, I began to change. He didn't just start himself as gospel comedian. He began to refer to himself as the ethical comedian, where ethical means friendly, family friendly. So I don't tag myself, because as I grew older, I realized that you don't get to a plane and you ask the person, and you ask the pilot, are you a gospel pilot? He doesn't, are you a gospel pilot? Or you ask a doctor and say, I've seen Muslims that are doctors attend to me. I've seen Muslims, deliver my children. You don't ask them, are you born again? As long as this person is a professional and he's been given a license to do what he does, he can take care of you. You get what I'm saying? So I don't refer myself as a gospel comedian, but the values that I stand for. I've seen comedians say, Saco no the crack raw joke, Saco no the crack all the joke. It's not that I can't crack those jokes, but I'm saying to myself, I have values. I have proteges right now that are watching me. There are a lot of, and I don't just do it on stage. I do it off stage. There are things you cannot say around me. You can't use the F word around me. You cannot use some negative words around me. I believe, I have faith. I believe, I've never had the offer. Even when I get on platforms that are not Christian-like, I crack my jokes that is clean. I crack my clean jokes. I've anchored Muslim events before. I crack clean jokes. I don't do the praise the Lord, because you have to. I do the tech bill. I do the, Egbol on Toby. I do my clean jokes. I do jokes that are related to the couple. I don't do, so I've not had the temptation of, okay, do this. I've not, because from the beginning, they knew, or whoever knew what I stood for. So I've not gone to a club to crack joke before one way or the other. I've not gone. I've not gone. I know where I go to. I know the temptations. I know the SWOT analysis, your strength, your weakness, your opportunity, and your threat. So I know where I go. I know where I don't go. Not for anything, but I know. And I tell you, and then I've evolved to not just being a gospel comedian. I've evolved to being a corporate compare, because that's where the money is. You'll be shocked. I do event 1 hour and I cash out. So I've just left the level where I don't go to every show. Where I'm invited, I go. Where if I need to go for a show, I've gone to Basketball show. I paid, to watch, to go and see, because the truth is, I've gone to AY show. I paid to go and watch. Sometimes I get access to tickets, and I see that, I say, if these people are doing big things, I can do big things. I can do big things in the area where you can do family-friendly jokes and people still laugh. Everybody has their values. Everybody know what they stand for. Everybody know what they are, what they enjoy doing, and you allow them to do it. So, but I've not had that issue. I've gotten more feedback because of the fact that courtesy and more cautious. I've seen people. Those are most of the feedback. And when you get feedback like that, you put more strength on them, and thrive on them. So I've not.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
it's been a wonderful experience. And your story, I'm sure, will steer somebody and give them the hope that if Saco can be here, then I can get here and even get past from being a waiter. My wife is into events, so I know who a waiter is, and I know the kind of insult, they haul at them at events. And from that background, and you are here. So it means that with humility, with consistency, with focus, and from what you have shared with us, and I'm sure that people will just take that away. The discovery, development, and most importantly, distribution of talent is very, very important. Some people will say, oh, we leave it in God's hands. God's time is the best.
No, you have to. You have to keep it. You have to. Most of the viral videos that you see today did not go viral. Most of the viral video, you'll be shocked that it could be the 27th video. It could be the 95th video. And they've been doing it where people did not, and then they just did. Most of, I was having a conversation with somebody, or I was watching, and they said most of those popular songs that you see today, they never imagined was going to go viral. Mercy Chinwo's song, Jesus, You Love Me Too Much. Mercy Chinwo, I heard that she never imagined that song was going to be the one. It was other songs she was focusing on. But the power of preparation, when you have time to prepare and prepare yourself. So when you come out and you speak, people say, oh, good. So for me, the viral video you're looking for today that you believe that you start doing, it's still discouraging when people start to do a video on YouTube and they expect it to go viral. And they are already tired. You can't be tired. You have to be consistent. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Chief Saco, for your time and your wealth. I see why you are who you are, and what you have been doing, beyond the scope of comedy. And from this discourse, it's obvious that you are a reader and a researcher. And
thank you, sir.
I give that credit to you, and keep doing what you are doing. A lot of people out there, and some that will still watch this video, will be inspired from this story. And I'm sure, despite even when the odds are against them in this space called Nigeria, if you, without traveling abroad, can stay here and break even and break through, then anybody who deploy the same principles will get the same result, even a greater result. So thank you for joining in. All right, to our viewers, next week we'll go on break, and by the time we come back on the 19th, we'll be hosting one and only Ali Baba here, who will come and take it from where Saco has left it today. So Chief Saco, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Because this 1 hour you have spent with us now, if it's on stage, I will know how much is it.
Yes, yes, sir. No problem.
But I'm sure if it's 5 people that will listen to this and it will touch them, and they go away with that information and begin to do something with their life, in few years' time, yours is as of 2011. The story wasn't like this. 9 years down the lane, and you are here. So meaning that by 2030, 2015, we'll be having more of you in this space, and Nigeria will surely rise. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you. God bless you.
Thanks, Bro Stylo. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Just go distribute the talent. Don't just keep it there. You never can tell which one will go viral. Keep the discovery and keep the development and the distribution. So next week, Wednesday, we'll go on a short break. And by 19th, we'll be back with one and only Ali Baba, the king of comedy. I will be coming here to tell us and share with us the parable of talent. So till then, keep safe, keep washing your hands. All right, Chief Titus, I want to say a big thank you to as many who have joined us. Yetonyo NTA, Bros, Elu, Ajayi, Baba, thank you for joining in. Kile Toria, thank you everyone who joined in this edition. Till the next time will come your way. Keep safe and God bless you. Bye.